Dooby-dooby-dooby-dooby-doo-doo. A do-do-do-do-do-be-doo-doo. Oh, hello there. Here we go again. Is it really Wednesday again already? I can't believe how fast these weeks are going by. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really hope so. Well, how has your week been so far? Has it been a good one? I really hope it has. My week has been quite busy, especially during the past 24 hours, because yesterday I decided to do something quite drastic. That's a great word. So I did something yesterday that I consider to be quite drastic. I decided to completely change the way my live streams are delivered to you. I decided to use a new encoder. So that is what I'm doing tonight. I am actually testing something for approval. So at the moment I'm using this with the possibility of actually using it all the time. We might say that I am having a trial of this new encoder. You can say that I am having a trial. So at the moment I am having a free trial of this particular software. But the only problem was that yesterday when I installed it on my computer, of course I've never used it before, so I had to learn how to use it in a very short time. So I hope nothing goes wrong tonight. So if anything does go wrong, I have a very good excuse. I think my excuse is much better than that Zuckerberg. Did you see him yesterday and today? Oh dear me, what he really is in a lot of hot water at the moment. To be in hot water, Mark Zuckerberg is in a lot of hot water. That means you are in serious trouble. Oh dear me. So at the moment I am using the trial version of this particular encoder, and that is what helps me to deliver my live stream to you via YouTube. So I'm glad to see you here. The live chat is very busy already. I can see that the live chat is busy. But first of all, the most important question must be, what was the weather like tonight? Well, it was a very dull and dismal day. We had such a lot of rain today, and tonight it was very murky. You can use the word murky. It's a great word, that. I love that word. So if something is murky, it is misty, it is damp, the visibility is not very good, it is very murky. So there you can see the view this evening. That is an actual view taken from my window, and you can see that it's very misty. In fact, the weather during the past 2 or 3 days has been very strange indeed. We had some beautiful sunshine a couple of days ago, and then it has done nothing but rain for about the past 24 hours. So we've had so much rain. And the worst part is we've already had a lot of rain anyway. So you can see out of the window that everything is looking very murky, very misty, very damp. And there is another view. You can see, looking into the distance, can you see the sheep in the distance? There are some sheep. And at the moment there are lots of lovely, cute newborn lambs running around. On Sunday, when I do my live stream this Sunday, I will let you have a look at some of the lovely little lambs that are running around at the moment, and there are so many of them. There are lots of lovely cute lambs running around. And there you can see just how much rain we've had over the past couple of days. You can see that the water is not draining away. It is still there on the surface. We call this type of water standing water. So this water is not draining away. It isn't going to soak into the ground. It is what we call standing water. So this water is not going anywhere. So I have got a little bit of flooding in my garden at the moment. Not too much, but there is some flooding in my garden. And there you can see there is a lot of water. A lot of water has fallen from the sky in the form of rain. Oh, and look, there are some lovely daffodils, because we can't have a look into my garden without looking at the lovely daffodils. Even though there isn't much sunshine around at the moment, it is really, really horrible at the moment. We are having a very dull and very dismal April so far. But I hope where you are, everything is lovely. And if it isn't, well, maybe by the weekend it will be nice just for you. So the live chat is up and running. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look at the live chat and see who is on. Oh, there are some very interesting messages coming through. Thank you very much. Mr. Duncan, you look like Fidel Castro. Do I really? Okay then, if you say so. Thanks a lot for your messages. Many messages coming through. Hello from Iraq. Hello to you as well. Here in Buenos Aires, it is very hot, and they say there will be lots of rain in a few hours. Thank you, Belarusia, and it's nice to see you here tonight on the live chat. Alice is also here. There was a heavy snowfall today in my city. Can you imagine in April? Well, actually, I can imagine it, because the weather recently has been very strange. The flowers in your garden are lovely, the marvellous flowers, even though we have had snowfall in spring. Thank you, Alice. Ahmed is here, watching in Algeria. Also, Nicole Joffrey is here. I love flowers very much, Mr. Duncan. Thank you, Nicole. Me too, even though sometimes they make me sneeze, because I do suffer from hay fever during the summer months. Anna Rita is here. Here in Rome we have had a lot of rain the days before. Now it is cloudy. Here in Egypt it is clear and the sky is blue. Thank you, Hitham Tarek, for your message. Morocco is here. Thank you, Mohammed. Also Elsa from Egypt. Alberto, thank you very much for saying hello. I hope you are saying hello there. Sergio says right now in Bogota in Colombia it is murky. Yes, it's very murky here. Very, very cool and very damp. Ugh. Alec is here. In Poland we have lots of sun last week. Oh, lucky you. Hey people, please don't talk during the lesson. It's already 28 years that I've been trying to understand English. Well, you've come to the right place. Alessandro is here. Your lessons are marvellous as always. Thank you very much. The weather here in Morocco is cold. Oh, so it's very cool at the moment in Morocco. Very interesting. Irina is here. Thank you for joining me again, Irina. Nice to see you back. Ute says it's warm in Germany. Okay, very nice. Alberto is also saying hello. Hello, Alberto. I thought you were saying hello, but of course, I knew you weren't being rude. Of course not. Aldemir says, Mr. Duncan, hello from Brazil. Hello from Sao Paulo in Brazil. Oh, hello there. Silvana says, here it is raining. Where are you, Silvana? Where are you watching at the moment? Robert says, nice to meet you for the first time. I am from the north of Spain, says Robert Cabat. Well, you are more than welcome. It's great to see you here. Of course, you are more than welcome to join in with my live stream. You are welcome to make comments about anything you hear during tonight's live stream. And maybe you are new here. Maybe it is your first time joining me on the live chat. Have you ever seen Mr. Steve? Well, in around about 15 or 20 minutes' time, you will get to see Mr. Steve right here live. Mr. Steve will be coming later on, so don't go away. Actually, I've had a very interesting email come through. In fact, I've had quite a few interesting emails come through since last Sunday's live stream. A lot of people were very interested in the conversation that took place between Mr. Steve and myself. A lot of people asking, Mr. Duncan, are you married? I've had so many messages come through during the past few days asking if I'm married. Can I just say now that I'm not married? Not yet, anyway. So thanks for that. Also, I had a very interesting email from, let me just see if I can get it on my phone, from Anna. Hello, Anna. Anna says, can I just make an observation, Mr. Duncan? Of course you can, no problem. From your recent productions, when you disagree with Mr. Steve and you disapprove of his style of performance, it looks as if you don't like each other. I feel involved in some sort of domestic dispute. Something private, which I should not see. With love and appreciation from Anna. Thank you, Anna. Can I just assure you now that Mr. Steve and myself, we have known each other for many, many years. So sometimes we might make fun of each other. We might say things that seem a little bit rude or unfriendly. But can I just assure you now that there is nothing like that going on. In fact, everything is super duper, in fact. So you don't have to worry so much. I can assure you that everything is definitely all right. So don't worry about it. Thank you, Anna, anyway, for your lovely message. Thank you very much. Also, I had another message from Danielle. Danielle Medei. Thank you, Danielle Medeiros. Thank you very much. I was watching one of your videos and I thought I could ask a question. Could you please tell me if there are some places on the internet where I can learn English through conversation? Well, that is something that's not easy to find. I will be honest with you. Now, you know me. I will always be honest, even if sometimes I might seem a little bit blunt. But actually, Daniel, I will tell you now that the only way you can really get conversation through the internet with another person, especially if you want to talk to a native English speaker, is to pay for it. You will have to pay. So there are many English teachers on the internet, there are many on YouTube as well, who will offer to have conversation practice over the internet, but quite often, in fact almost all the time, they will ask for payment, and quite often it is quite expensive. So they will ask for maybe $40, $50 for just maybe 1 hour, or maybe $20 or $30 for just 30 minutes. So it depends. But yes, you can find people on the internet. You can find people who will help you with your conversation English. But can I just say now, they will definitely ask for money. I can assure you that they will definitely want money. So that is something to consider. But there are many people on the internet who will offer lessons. Sometimes, and this is something that I've already mentioned, some English teachers will offer a trial lesson. So they will give you a lesson for free. And they will call this a trial lesson. So there it is again, the word that I used earlier, trial. So maybe they will give you one lesson for free, just to see if you like it. But after that, they will definitely ask for payment. There is no doubt about it. I can assure you that they will definitely ask for payment. The live chat is very busy. Let's have another look, shall we, at the live chat. Ooh. Nice to see so many people here. Saudi Arabia, thank you, Mitgir. You are both great. Don't worry about the comments. That's okay, Garcia. I don't mind. People can ask anything, really. I do get some very strange questions sometimes. Mr. Duncan, are you from the UK or the USA? Asks Lost Man. Well, I am English, and I am now talking to you live in England. So I'm an Englishman, I speak English. But don't forget, even if a person has an American accent or a British accent, there is only one English language. Most of the differences come when we talk about accents. So don't forget that. It seems that your encoder is working very well. Thank you, Nicole, for that. This is a new encoder that I installed yesterday, so I'm still learning how to use it. So I hope you can hear me okay and see me okay. Oh, I was so worried tonight. I was really worried that something would go wrong, but so far everything seems to be all right. And this is much better than my old encoder. The encoder that I had before was not very reliable, let's just say. But this particular encoder seems much better. And that's because it's professional quality. That's the reason why. Yes, there are some classes with some other companies. Thank you, Aurora. Yes, quite often you will have to pay for conversation practice. You will definitely have to pay for it. There is no doubt about it. Thank you, Wilson. Wilson says, I can hear you, Mr. Duncan. Can you hear me loud and clear, though? Congratulations on your work, Mr. Duncan. I cannot stop recommending you to everyone I know. Thank you, Alberto. That is very, very kind of you. We are going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about the uses of the word crash. And today I was trying to learn how to use the new encoder that is now delivering this live stream to you. And the word crash can be used to describe learning something, especially if you have to learn something very quickly. And we can say that you have a crash course. Crash course. So a crash course means that you have to learn something very quickly with very little preparation. So you have to learn something, you have to take in a lot of information in a very short period of time. So we call that a crash course. But there are some other uses of the word crash. In fact, there are quite a few uses. So there is one, crash course. If you have to learn something in a hurry, or if you have to absorb or take in a lot of information and learn how to do something in a very short time, we can describe that as a crash course. So today I had to have a crash course in vMix. So I had to learn very quickly how to use this particular encoder. And I only had one day to do it in because I wanted to use it tonight. So sometimes I'm very good at learning things very quickly, especially when there is a lot of pressure involved, to be honest. Something else I want to mention very quickly. Here is a man who has appeared in the news over the past couple of days. In fact, he was in the news last year as well. But can you tell me why this particular man is in the news? Why is this man in the news at the moment? He was also featured quite heavily in the news last year. But why? Can you tell me? Something to keep you thinking between now and the end of the live stream. So uses of the word crash. There are many, in fact. More than you might realize. Okay, let's go back to the live chat because I know lots of people really do want to talk to me. So, live chatters. There are classes. Yes, I've just read that one. Sorry, I do apologize for that. I can hear you. Congratulations on your work. And also to crash can be used as a verb. Yes, you are right. You are right. Yes, crash can be used as a verb. You are right. Yes. I'm just trying my best to get this to work. Just give me a second. Oh, dear me. I think the live chat has stuck. Okay, I will try to sort that out in a moment. For some reason, it's not moving on my screen. So you will have to give me a moment while I sort that out. There's always something, and it was going so well. It was going so well. Hello to Sukat. Hi, Sukat. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. And also Abbas is here as well. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hi, Tham says, or Hi, Tam says, Mr. Duncan, I think the person that you showed just intends to plant his head on another body. Really? Is that what you think? Is that what he's going to do? Keradine says, thank you very much for the new word. You are welcome. That's the reason why I am here. Recently, I've watched your videos about happy and sad. It was genius. Oh, thank you, Garcia, for that. Yes, I have made a lesson all about being happy and feeling sad. It is on my YouTube channel. In fact, it is one of my very early lessons. I think it was lesson 5 that I made quite a while ago, many, many years ago. So yes, I have made many lessons and they are all available on my YouTube channel. And you are very welcome to watch those videos. In fact, they are all there and they are all free. They don't cost you anything. So nice to see people tonight on the live chat. Yes, it was very beautiful, your lesson about happy and sad. And also the one about autumn. Thank you, Alberto, for that. Yes, I did also make a lesson about the season of autumn. In fact, I've made one about autumn and also I've made one all about winter as well. There is a lesson on my YouTube channel where I stand in the snow talking to you all. The things I do, you won't believe it. You really won't. So, uses of the word crash. It is a word that is used often. It can be used First of all, as I mentioned earlier, we can say crash course. So a crash course is something that you have to learn, some information that you have to take in very, very quickly. I think Mr. Steve has just arrived. I think he has just returned from his rehearsals. Mr. Steve is rehearsing at the moment. He is in a show and he is rehearsing right now. So he's just returned, so we will see what Mr. Steve has been up to. Thanks, Alberto. You are very kind with your messages, and thanks to everyone. I like the lessons about real life, says Anna. Yes, I have made quite a few lessons that feature subjects that many people can relate to. Things that you have experienced and I've experienced as well, such as being sad, being happy, memory. So remembering things from your past, good things and bad things. Also reality. I've made an English lesson all about reality. And also I've made a lesson all about the human body. So, one or two people have said, Mr. Duncan, the man that you showed just is going to transplant his head onto another body. Can you believe that? Can you believe that someone is going to have their head taken off and put onto someone else's body? It's never been done before in the history of medicine and surgery. It's never been done. So no human being has ever had their head removed and put onto another body. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Mr. Duncan, what about Frankenstein's monster? What about, yes, Mary Shelley wrote a very famous book about a scientist who creates a monster. And the scientist's name is Frankenstein. A lot of people actually get the name wrong because they always think that Frankenstein is actually the monster. But Frankenstein is actually the scientist. So the scientist that created Frankenstein out of lots of body parts, the scientist is called Frankenstein, but the monster is just called the monster. Uses of the word crash. Well, if you are a person like me who uses a computer, you will know that this word is something that you never want to use. You never want to use this word if you use a computer in your daily life, because crash means your computer has failed, or maybe a computer program has stopped working. It has crashed. And that's the reason why I'm changing my encoder, the thing that delivers my stream to you. So I have actually decided to use another one because my old encoder used to crash all the time. So there it is, another use of the word crash. If your computer suddenly stops working for no reason, or maybe a computer program stops working for no reason, we can say that it has crashed. You have had a computer crash. Not a word that I like to use when I'm using my computer, to be honest. Guess who has just arrived? Do you want to know who's just arrived? Well, I will give you a clue. He has just walked through the door and he is about to appear on your screens. Oh, goodness me, I seem to have company. I have company here. What is going on? Oh my goodness. Look, It's Mr. Steve.
I've appeared like magic.
And of course, as usual, he's shouting.
I'm not shouting. I won't keep it down, Mr. Duncan.
What I've realised is, because I'm using my new encoder tonight, I've realised that this is very sensitive to noise. So I've tried to adjust it whilst doing the live stream. So this is something that I'm actually using as a trial. So at the moment I have a free trial, and the free trial lasts for 60 days.
That's very generous.
That's very generous, isn't it? So I have generous. I have 60 days to try this encoder. So that's very nice. So it is a trial. So I am using it to see whether or not it is suitable for my purpose.
And what do you think so far, Mr. Duncan?
This is incredible. I have to say, I'm not being paid by them. Before anyone says, "Oh, Mr. Duncan, you're being sponsored by this company."
If only.
I wish I was, I tell you. I don't have any sponsors. I have no one sponsoring me. Can you believe that?
Well, how about me? No, that doesn't count.
Well, I'm not. Well, that doesn't make sense, though, surely.
I'm only joking. Mr. Duncan.
Brought to you in association with Mr. Steve.
Mr. Duncan has been like a kid in a sweet shop today. He's been so excited because he's found this new little tool,
Yes.
I think you would describe it, that he likes to play. Mr. Duncan loves his technology and his devices and things like that. So he's found this new little gizmo.
Gizmo?
Well, it's not really a gizmo. It's a program.
You mean that word?
Program.
You mean that word?
Gizmo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm looking at that. I can look at that.
Yes. That's the reason why it's there.
Is it a gizmo? Because
Yes.
gizmo is more like a physical thing, isn't it?
Well, that's fine. A gizmo, anything that you use that is based on technology. And quite often we say gizmo when we can't remember the name of the actual thing. So
True.
we can say, "Oh, in my kitchen I have this thing. It's a gizmo that makes coffee."
Yes.
So-
Like that thing you showed at the weekend.
Oh, yes.
For making the coffee.
Shall I fetch it?
If you couldn't think something that you might not think, or what's the name of that?
Do you want to see my gizmo?
He's got lots of gizmos. Oh, I suppose you want me to carry on talking while you've gone off into the kitchen, do you, Mr. Duncan? All right, then I will. Well, I've been out tonight. Mr. Duncan, he's been so excited because, as you know, he's been complaining about his encoder for weeks. And now he's found this new one. It's going to cost him about £20 a month, I think, to have it. But it's going to work much better. And I can see it all looks very different. But what about the live chat, Mr. Duncan? Have you managed to get the live chat working? Because, you know, I like to look at the live chat. Have you, Mr. Duncan, got the live chat? Well, he's not listening to me. He's walked off. Oh, it's there. Oh, yes, I can see it. Lost man. Hi, Mr. Steve. Who's lost man? Oh, like a tool. Yes, exactly. A gizmo. So it's something that is used to do something, but you can't remember the name of it. It's usually small. Like that Twizzler that Mr. Duncan used in his video to make the coffee with. Oh, you wouldn't call a computer a gizmo. It's too big, really. Mr. Duncan's coming with it now. It's something that you don't really know the name of it. You can't remember what it is, but it does something interesting.
So the word gizmo just means...
Clever.
Just means a device or a piece of technology that you don't know the actual name of. So it's something you can't actually name. So you know what it does, but you don't actually know the name of it. So yes, gizmo.
You say to your friends, "Oh, I've got a new gizmo." And this is Mr. Duncan's. Well, it's not new, but it is a gizmo.
So this is the gizmo that I used. I used this last Sunday to make coffee. So you use this to make coffee. But really, it could have many names. Mr. Steve just called it a Twizzler. Twizzler.
Did I?
Yes, you just said.
Okay.
You said
Frother.
You said the Twizzler. But it has lots of names. So some people might just say, "Oh, can you fetch that gizmo the gizmo for making coffee. So you
Yes.
might say gizmo for this particular thing because really it doesn't have a particular name. So you could say gizmo. So gizmo. Another word you can use, of course, is besides gizmo, you can also say gadget.
Yes.
So gadget is more precise. So that does mean something that does a particular job. Maybe something for carrying out a particular task. So a gadget. Quite often a gadget will be a physical thing. So maybe a drill for drilling holes, or maybe something for cooking. So it will be a gadget. Something that's very useful around the house, maybe a microwave oven. See, a microwave oven is a gadget,
Yes.
a very useful gadget.
Yes, it could be. Or a
Where
knife,
it-
a knife sharpener.
Yes. Or
That could be a gadget.
where gizmo is something that does a very useful task, but you don't really know what the name is. You can't recall, or maybe it doesn't really have a specific name. So there, I hope that puts your mind at rest. So yes, as Steve said, I was so excited. I really was, because this new encoder works very well. It works very well indeed. So I showed a picture earlier, Steve. This guy. Do you know why this guy is in the news at the moment?
No.
Oh, okay.
Never seen him before.
That was quick.
Don't know who he is. No, I don't.
We've had some guesses on the live chat.
Hey, oh, right. So you haven't given the answer yet, then?
Well, a couple of people
He
have.
looks like he's got a. Has he got a medical condition?
He has.
Ah, I'm thinking Stephen Hawking.
It's not Stephen Hawking.
I know it's not him, but I'm thinking maybe the similar condition.
Oh, I see.
Maybe. No. Yes.
In fact, it was someone I was talking to you about yesterday.
Okay.
So, yes. Lost Man asks, gizmo is a slang word. Yes. We don't actually know where it comes from. So the origins of the word gizmo are actually unknown. It would appear to have originally occurred in American English. But again, nobody really knows. Nicole says your gizmo looks like something that a dentist would use
Yes.
to take your teeth out.
Maybe you could clean your teeth with. Maybe it would polish your teeth
Ugh.
if you could put like a piece of cloth on there or something.
Abbas says your words are so useful because I am studying the English language. My second stage. Hello from Iraq. Hello to
Hello.
Abbas.
You're very young, Abbas, by the way.
Yes,
Your picture makes you look very young.
that is amazing, Abbas. You are just a baby, and already you are at the second stage of learning English. That's better than me and Steve.
You're very advanced in Iraq.
Amazing. That's all I can say. June is here. Hi, June. Hi, June. It's not June yet, though. We've got to wait a little bit longer before June actually arrives. Gizmo from... Oh, yes, there was a character. Do you remember, Steve, in the film Gremlins?
No.
There was a little cute gremlin called Gizmo. He was the little tiny one that everyone wanted to buy as a toy.
It does sound like a name, Gizmo.
Yes, so it was actually a character in the film Gremlins as well. Yes, you are right. You are spot on there. Thank you very much, MH, for that. Hiradith says, hey, Hiradith. It's nice to see you here today. How are things going with you? Are they okay? I really, really hope so. So it's a little bit different tonight because I'm using some new equipment, so I'm just learning how to do it. Today I had a crash course in how to use it, and it's very complicated as well. So it's not easy to use, so I've had to put a lot of information into my brain. Are you good at learning things, Steve?
I'm not too bad. But Mr. Duncan, you love looking at new technology and seeing how it works. Interestingly enough, another word, I heard you talking about usage of the word crash. You can describe if someone's a bit boring,
Oh, okay.
you can call them a crashing bore.
Ah, yes.
A crashing bore. which is somebody who's very boring
So a person who has a long conversation about nothing in particular.
and just bores you all the time because they're coming out with stuff which is either irrelevant to you or hasn't you have no interest of, and they have no perception that you're not interested in it, but they keep talking about themselves and their lives and what they've been doing, and you want to get away from them. You describe them as, he's a crashing bore.
I went to a party last week and I ended up standing next to a guy who wouldn't stop talking to me. He was a crashing bore.
Yes. You can describe a group of people as crashing bores as well. If you went to a party and there were lots of people and they were all of a similar mind, but they were they talked in a way that you didn't find interesting, and they're just boring. You could describe them all as crashing bores.
What a crashing bore.
Maybe they're all talking about their holidays or their babies or something like that. You could describe them all as crashing bores.
You know, Steve, a lot of people like a lot of people like talking about babies.
I know.
So we have to be careful.
I know, but sometimes people go on and on about it too much.
Even though they are incredibly annoying sometimes. So crash. Another use of the word crash is to stay at someone's house.
Yes.
So you can stay at a person's house. If a person allows you to stay at their house overnight, maybe without any warning, so maybe you find that you have nowhere to sleep, and so you go to your friend's house and you ask, can I crash at your house tonight?
Yes.
Or can I crash at your place tonight? So crash in that sense means to stay at or stop over or just to sleep maybe on the sofa or the couch or on the floor. So they crash at your house or you crash at your friend's house. So last night I missed the bus. So I had no choice. I had to crash at my friend's house. So you crash, you stay there overnight. You stop for the night, normally in an emergency.
Could be for one night or a few nights, maybe 1 or 2 nights. I'm crashing out at my friend's house.
That's it.
Or you went out for late or a party and you'd had too much to drink and you couldn't drive back, so you crashed out at your friend's house.
That's it. You crashed.
Yes.
So how's the live chat doing? I realised earlier that maybe I need to operate the live chat actually on the web page itself. I put this picture on because I love the children, but I am 23 years old. Thank you, Abbas, for explaining that. Keradine says, I think you say, oh yes, crash. 2 cars crashed. Yes, we can use crash in its more familiar sense, which is 2 things hitting each other or running into each other. So yes, you can say 2 cars crashed into each other. Or of course you can describe the whole event as a crash. There was a crash on the road near my house yesterday. A crash, a car crash. And then of course you can express what the event was. So maybe a car crash, or maybe a bus crash, or a train crash, or...
I could crash into you.
Yes, we can crash into each other.
That would be like a bump.
So maybe we crash
That would be a bump, but if it was a more severe, maybe I was running along the road and or I was on my bike and I hit Mr. Duncan really hard, you could describe that as I'm crashing into him. Whereas if I just sort of, that's just a bump.
So a bump is a very gentle crash.
Yes.
So you are still crashing, but gently. But quite often we use the word crash to mean a severe impact.
Severe impact between objects. Whereas a bump, you can have a bump in your car, can't you? Where you've had it's not severe. You might have a little dent on your bumper or on one of the panels.
A minor
impact.
So minor, something that's not very serious.
Yes.
So a crash is normally serious, and a bump is normally not very serious. You bump into someone or you crash into someone. Did you enjoy that? Shall I do it again?
No, although I know he's going to.
Did you? Yeah? Oh,
Fine, yes.
He didn't laugh that
8
time.
out of 10.
He didn't laugh that time. So yes.
People think we're arguing. People think we're arguing sometimes, don't they?
Yes,
It's
I mentioned that earlier. Anna wrote during the week and said, Mr. Duncan, we are really worried that you and Steve are having fights.
No.
Maybe you have some problem. But we don't. We've known each other for many years. In fact, next year, how many years will we have known each other next year?
30 years.
30. I'm going to write that down because I don't think people will believe it. I don't think people are actually going to believe it.
Perhaps you could describe our relationship as a crash. No.
There we go. So for those
30.
30.
30.
30.
3 times 10.
So next year we would have known each other
10 times 3.
for 30 years.
Yes.
I can't believe
We
it.
all have our crosses to bear,
Yes.
which is a statement that means we all suffer.
My mum said that once.
We all, if you say to somebody, oh, you've got your, he's got his crosses to bear, or she's got her crosses to bear, it means that they suffer.
Yes.
I presume it's, like.
No.
What?
We can't mention religion again.
Well, I'm going to say where it comes from. That it's normally said as a joke. If you've got something that's in your life that is unbearable, almost unbearable, but you've got to keep putting up with it, you say, oh, they've got their crosses to bear.
Yes. So it relates. What does it relate to?
It relates really to Jesus on the cross. Having that big weight to carry around, or being on the cross.
Yes. Well,
It's unbearable. So if something's unbearable in your life, you can say, "Oh, I've got my crosses to bear."
Yes. It means you've got to carry a heavy load or a burden.
A burden, yeah. So you can describe a relationship, somebody as being a burden. So having Mr. Duncan in my life. Oh, you could say to somebody, somebody might say, oh, God, Al, you've known him for 30 years. Oh, you've got your crosses to bear, haven't you? Meaning, he's a bit of a burden. I'm joking, of course.
Oh, okay then.
I'm joking.
Just give a moment for the actual comment to soak in, though.
We've all got our crosses to bear.
Yes.
Is what you often say.
But you've just reminded me that my mum once said that. My mum said it in a YouTube video, and she said that's my son. We all have our crosses to bear.
Meaning he's a burden. His own mother thinks he's a burden.
How can anyone say that I'm a burden?
But it's usually said as a joke, isn't it? It's usually said as a joke.
I like to think so.
It is. She was joking. Well, half joking.
That's what I'm thinking, you see. I'm not too sure.
So we don't really argue. We do argue, but we soon make up.
Well, everyone argues.
And we all have our points of view.
If anyone in a relationship says that they don't have arguments, then they are lying. Garcia says, I love your conversation. It is very useful. Thank you very much. I wish you a long life, says Abdarim Alex. Thank you very much.
Garcia, what's this news about the crash? Do you mean the stock market crash?
Ah, yes. Well, that's something I was coming to, you see.
Oh.
See, Mr. Steve is slightly ahead, but yes, of course, the crash, Garcia, I'm not sure if you're on about the crash on the stock market or maybe something more serious. I'm not sure.
Because, the aeroplane crash.
Oh, I see. Because yes, I think there was a plane crash today as well. I think in Algeria.
That's right, Mr. Duncan.
So I did notice the news earlier. I didn't get all of the news, but yes, I did see something mentioned on the news, but I didn't see the whole story. But I did see something about a plane crash earlier. But I was just walking through the room, so I just heard it mentioned on the TV. So yes, a crash can also be on the stock market. So when the shares go down, such as Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook last week. His shares went down. They didn't really crash. They just dropped slightly. But today, can you believe it? He's appeared in this big trial in the US, and today his shares went up again. Incredible.
I think they describe a crash on the shares on the stock markets when they go down more than about 20% or something.
So it's like that. So
they can go down very suddenly.
This is my bank balance this year. So this is my bank balance in January before I bought all of my new equipment for the studio. And there you can see January.
1 million.
1 million, I wish.
Starts off at 1 million.
If it was 1 million, I wouldn't be here doing this now.
You would, because you love doing it.
I wouldn't.
You would. He's only joking.
I'd be on my little speedboat.
You've said to me many times, if you ever made lots of money from being an English teacher on YouTube, you'd still carry on doing it because he loves doing it.
No, I'd quit tomorrow and go and live on my desert island.
So I'd have to do it.
I would live next door to Richard Branson. So in the morning when I wake up, I'd open my window and there's Richard Branson over on his island, and I'd say, "Morning, Richard. Morning. How is it going? How's your Virgin? Is your Virgin okay?"
Oh, that Virgin.
Yes, because he owns Virgin, you see.
His company.
I don't know what you thought. So yes. So but I'm not a millionaire. So January, there's my money in January.
£100, more like.
That's more like it. Yes, £100. January, February, then March. March went like that.
When you bought the new computer.
When I bought the new computer and all this new equipment, and now I have this new encoder, which I've got as a free trial, but in 60 days I will have to decide whether I want to buy it. And this is very expensive because it's professional. It's a professional quality encoder. So this is used by many people who do professional broadcasting. So I hope it's
well, you're a professional broadcaster, Mr. Duncan. I think we can call you a professional broadcaster.
Am I a professional?
Yes.
Am I a professional broadcaster?
Yes, I think you. Well, you are. You're broadcasting.
Yeah.
To lots of people around the world, and you do it very well, and you get a small amount of money for it. So
yes,
you are a professional broadcaster.
I'm not sure if a small amount of money means you're a professional.
Well, usually the definition of a professional is somebody who gets paid to do something.
Yes, badly.
So if you're an amateur, then you could be doing the same thing but not being paid for it. But a professional is someone who's being paid for it.
Oh, if someone falls in love, can you say he is crushed on her? That's very different. I think you're confusing the word crush. Crush. You can have a crush on someone, which means you like someone, you find them attractive. You look at them from a distance, you love them in your heart. A person who maybe doesn't know that you do love them, you have a crush on them. You feel as if you love them. So, yes, we can say that you have a crush on them.
Yes.
Not crash. I am from Algeria. Thanks a lot for telling us about the crash. Oh, yes. Well, I did hear about it. I didn't hear any more details. I just heard that there was something happening, and that was it, because
right.
I was running around getting ready to do this.
I think there's about 230 people have died. I think, and I think they're mostly soldiers. I seem to have heard.
Yes, I don't know. Anyway, we won't comment too much on that because I think that's still breaking news.
Well, interestingly enough, I'd be interested to know if there are any survivors, because they seem to indicate earlier on that there could have been survivors.
Anyway, we'll see what happens.
A miracle.
We'll see what happens with that. Pedro, Mr. Duncan, do you mind if I ask a question? Does YouTube pay something for you? Does YouTube pay me? In the early days of YouTube, I used to get paid. I used to make some revenue from my videos, but not anymore because YouTube has changed the way it works. So in the past, I used to be able to earn a salary, not a big one, but nowadays, no, not very much at all. I think it's fair to say that YouTube doesn't pay me doesn't pay me virtually anything anymore. Would that be fair to say, Steve?
I would say that you just about cover your overheads.
Yes, I'm just about able to buy a new pair of jeans twice a year, a new pair of trousers.
Just about break even, as we say.
I'm
so
not
you're
sure.
not making money, but you're not losing money.
Well,
You
yes.
are losing money.
Well,
Okay.
I am definitely losing money. Doing this costs me money. I'm not a millionaire because of this. I know a lot of people on the internet think that if you do YouTube and you have lots of viewers, that people will be paying you lots of money. But no, it doesn't happen all the time. It's very, very rare, in fact. So not everyone on YouTube who has some sort of success is earning a lot of money, trust me. And don't forget, I've been doing this for over 11 years. So I've seen YouTube change from one thing to another, from something that was fun and exciting and thrilling, and of course you could do it and earn a living, to something that's very corporate and very changeable, very fickle. And of course, people like me now don't really count on YouTube. We are not really important. So in the past, when YouTube was a much smaller thing, people like me were supporting YouTube. We were keeping YouTube going. But now, of course, I am thrown on the scrap heap.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, you mustn't be so down about it.
Well, I'm not being down about it. It's just Pedro asked the question and I answered it.
Shouldn't have asked that question, Pedro.
Well, you can.
No, what I meant was Mr. Duncan will be getting upset and talking about it.
No, I'm not upset about
yes.
it. I'm not upset at all.
Which is why, it's why you've got some very kind people that donate to you.
That's it. I have some.
Why that is so important, because without that, you wouldn't be able to keep going at all.
I have some lovely Patreon
Yes.
donations, and also I have donations sometimes on my PayPal. So I do all of this for free. I don't do this because I want to be a millionaire. I do this because I love doing it, and I love doing it for you. So that's the reason why I do this. I'm not trying to be one of these wacky teenagers that you see all the time.
Well, you're not a teenager, so you couldn't be.
That's it.
I'm
Thanks.
only joking, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Steve. See, Steve is being nasty to me.
I'm not being nasty. I'm just joking.
You
I'm
see?
trying to lighten the mood.
See how nasty
Trying to
Steve?
lighten the mood.
See how nasty he's being to me? Because I'm always accused of bullying Steve. So tonight, Mr. Steve is bullying
Getting
me.
my own back.
Yes, I think so. Well and truly.
Somebody said that they got a crush on their teacher, Imri. I don't know how you pronounce your name. I'm very sorry. Crush on your teacher. Yes, a lot of people have crushes on their teachers.
Amriwadi had a crush
That's it.
on his teacher. Did you ever have a crush on your teacher? Because
did.
I remember the other day you were having a conversation with someone. I can't remember who.
At the wedding.
Oh, at the wedding last week, you were talking to someone and you said that you had a crush on one of your teachers. What was her name?
And I can't remember now.
Oh, okay.
She was well, it was a long time ago. I was, I think, maybe 16 at the time. Feelings awakening, as they do at that age.
Oh.
She was French. We had a teacher come over from France to teach us French.
Yeah.
And I think, I was probably 14 or 15. Well, I'll tell you when it was. It was 1976. The hot summer of 1970. Mademoiselle Fabre, her name was. Mademoiselle Fabre. Brigitte Fabre. I can remember her name.
He even
How
knows.
strange.
You can even remember her first name.
I can. And she was French, and I've got a picture of her.
Oh my goodness.
I've got a picture of her still. I think every boy at school was in love with this French teacher.
It doesn't have a hole in it, does it?
Because she was obviously she was obviously a woman from France. She was probably about 21. She was attractive. She spoke with this sexy French accent.
Oh,
and I think every man at school and every boy was in love with her.
It is true that the French are very sexy. The accent, and they are very charming. Did you know that I'm part French?
Unbelievable.
I am. I'm so on my father's side, I am actually French descent.
You are.
It's true. So that's probably the reason why I'm so charming.
Probably the reason why you smell.
Okay, Steve.
Well, the French have got a reputation. Apologies, anyone from France watching.
All I can say is your fake laugh is getting better.
They have got a reputation. It's just a bit of a joke that they, sometimes maybe they don't.
No, feel
as
free,
much
Steve. Feel free to tell all my...
Underarm deodorant,
Te-
It's a bit of a joke that we say that about French people. We're
So-
only
What?
only joking.
We? I'm not saying... I'm not...
English people, British people.
Yes. So Steve
Yes,
is the
getting
one...
myself into a hole.
Okay,
digging
then.
a hole.
Okay, yes, you certainly are.
But anyway, she didn't smell. She was absolutely beautiful, and she had exquisite Chanel perfume on. Yes, I can still see her now, very, very clearly. I wrote her a letter. I've still got the letter.
You were stalking her.
She wrote me a letter back from France when she went back. Yes.
Steve was a stalker.
Apparently, French people find our accent sexy as well. If we try to speak French to a French person, they find that very attractive, just as when French people speak English. We find it attractive because it is all so sexy. The French accent. See, if I were to talk to you like this, Mr. Duncan, would you find me attractive?
But she wasn't Welsh.
Oh, I'm just trying to do an accent. Hi, ho, Mr. Duncan. You are a very good English teacher.
What was that bit? Ha-he-ha.
I don't know. I ought to stop now. The thing is, I'm practicing a Spanish accent at the moment.
Stop! You don't have to keep shouting.
It's my normal voice.
It isn't your normal voice. That's you.
I'm projecting to the back of this room to whoever is watching.
Fine. I think you've offended every French person.
Probably, but then they can have a go at us back. For our fish and chips.
Oh yes, they can have a go by never watching me again. Yeah, thanks. Cheers, Steve.
I don't think we've got anyone from France watching.
Well,
I'm not. It's just a joke.
Well,
say something funny to us back.
Yeah, but you said it's a joke, and then you carried on insulting them.
I'm not insulting. It's a joke.
You said it's just a joke, but they all smell. Oh yeah, okay then. Well, no, you say it's just a joke.
No,
and then,
that is the joke that people make.
Ha-he-ha.
Just. Do you want me to go, Mr. Duncan? What's the live chat saying? Come on, let's have a look at the live chat.
What the hell is ha-he-ha?
Well, that's the French people speak with that sort of nasal accent. Yeah, it's true. That's not offensive.
All I can say is, whoever that woman was, you had the crush on. She escaped.
Oh,
she really did have a lucky escape.
I'd marry her tomorrow.
She had a lucky escape. I have to keep repeating myself.
Lovely.
I have to keep repeating myself because Steve talks over me. For those wondering.
Are we still on?
Oh, see, like that. That, you see. That's what I'm on about.
What's the difference, Nicole says, between crash and crush? I think we've just covered that.
I thought I just said that.
Crash is two things bashing into each other with a lot of force.
Yes. Well, it's impact.
And
Crush is to crumple.
Yes.
So one thing becomes another due to pressure. So crush is to put pressure on something to make it smaller, or to compact it, or to make it compact.
Yes, you crush them. Like if a car is crushed when it goes into those when they're recycling a car and it gets crushed in those into a block.
So they put the car inside and then it crushes.
Yes.
It crushes the car and then it comes out like a big cube.
So that would be yes. So that's yes. So the other use of the word crush we discussed, of course, was being in love, having a sort of being in love with somebody.
So besides crash, there is also crush. But they do tend to have very different
Yes.
Very different word.
You wouldn't
Also-
have a car crush.
And another use of the word crash, because I haven't finished with these, there are still some more. Can you believe it? You can also show up at someone's party without being invited. So if you arrive at a party but you weren't invited, like Mr. Steve does all the time, he always crashes other people's parties because he never gets invited anywhere. So crash, you can crash someone's party. So you can say a birthday party crasher or a wedding crasher. So they crash, they go there, or funeral crasher.
Funeral crasher?
Does anyone do that? Have you ever been to a funeral that wasn't anyone you know, or knew? Have you ever just been to you can wake up in the morning and just go, oh, I've got nothing to do today. I think I'm just going to go to a random person's funeral.
Crash a funeral. Has that ever been done?
Has it ever been
I
done?
don't think so.
Especially if you're also dead. So maybe you can turn up in the coffin and then they can put the person who's supposed to be there in the ground, and then you sneak in with your coffin, and then they put you in the ground as well. So maybe you can crash a funeral.
The way your mind works, Mr. Duncan, it's very bizarre.
Very bizarre. I'm still waving good morning to Richard Branson from my big island.
Maybe he could give you a donation.
Morning, Richard. By the way, if Richard Branson is watching, could you please make a donation to my PayPal account? Thank you.
Please, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you very much. So crash. So to turn up at someone's party without being invited, you crash the party.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, there are so many uses of this word. Did you realise?
Not as many uses as there are for the word set.
Oh dear. Yes, maybe this Sunday. So don't forget, we are back on Sunday. I'm sure it's written down here somewhere. So Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time, and of course every Wednesday at 10 p.m. and that's what you're watching right now. So I will be back on Sunday, but will we actually have time on Sunday to talk about the word set? Because I think it's 6 times now we were going to do it and we've had to cancel it because we completely ran out of time. We had no time left.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary,
Yeah.
there are about 464 uses of the word set.
It's true. It's the word with the most definitions in the English language.
So I'm going to do them all on Sunday. All 464.
My goodness.
It's going to be very quick.
So Sunday's live stream will be about 16 hours long.
If we did 10
don't-
every week,
Please don't do your maths.
we could almost do a year on uses of the word set.
So yes, if every Sunday we spent a few moments talking about set, we could probably talk about set until next year, until 2019. In fact, we could talk about it until we leave Europe, until Brexit happens.
We could, yes. Yes. Oh, well. Well, will we get round to it, though? That's the question. Will we
What?
get used to talking about uses of the word set?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Brexit.
By the time we get round to talking about it, everyone will have looked it up,
Will we-
Googled it, and they'll know.
2 good questions there. Will we ever get to talk about set? And will we ever leave Europe? And will it ever happen? 2 very interesting questions. Live chat is on. I'm so pleased that this encoder is working. Well done to VMix. Thank you, VMix. Your encoder is working very well so far.
Who is the man in front of Mr. Duncan?
The man in front of Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
Is there anyone in front of me?
Somewhat. Mr. Coco in Poland.
Mr. Coco, who
That's
is
an
the
interesting
man?
name.
Oh, maybe who is the man next to Mr. Duncan?
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know who that is? That's Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve is a famous actor in Wolverhampton. He's the most famous actor in Wolverhampton. It's true. I'm not joking. Your name is known from Tettenhall to Bushbury.
I've upset Beneteau. I do apologise.
Why?
by making jokes about French people.
Yes, but
make a joke about us.
yes, it's very easy to do.
It's very easy to do. On about our fish and chips
Yes,
that we eat all the time.
Say, oh, you English people, your fish and chips taste like it's been scraped off the bottom of a whale's
And we're British people.
anus.
British people are always criticised for their uncouth bad manners, particularly their football teams.
British people complain all the time. So we're not perfect. Mr. Duncan, I am from Curitiba. I hope I pronounced that right. You are great together. Thank you very much. Raphael. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Mr. Coco says, hello, Mr. Steve. Oh, so now you have been formally introduced.
Hello, Mr. Coco.
Hello, Mr. Coco. This is Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve.
Mr. Coco.
Yes,
and that's Mr. Duncan.
I'm Mr. Duncan. Hello, Mr. Coco.
We've all got Mr. in front of our name.
Mr. Coco, Mr. Duncan.
Mr.
Duncan,
Coco.
Mr. Duncan, Mr. Coco, Mr. Steve, Mr. Coco, Mr. Coco, Mr. Duncan, and Mr. Steve.
Does Mr. Coco, do you like chocolate?
Wait there, I haven't finished introducing him. So, Mr. Coco, can I just introduce you to everyone else who is on YouTube watching at the moment around the world? It's a very big family, to be honest. And that's how I view this. I always view this as a big family getting together to have a weekly reunion.
We'll all have a big meet-up somewhere. Somewhere around the world. We'll have a giant live English lesson where we're all physically present.
This guy here, he wants to...
Who is he? Come on.
He wants to take his head off and transplant it onto someone else's body. It's never been... Oh.
Yes, I remember you telling me about him now.
Yes, we were talking about this yesterday. We went on a big walk and I was talking about this guy who last year was saying that he was going to have his head transplanted onto another body. But then the story disappeared and no one talked about it for ages. And then this week, apparently, he's going to go ahead with it. Oh dear, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. He's going to go ahead.
That's a joke.
With it. Well, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. It isn't a joke, but it just happens to have the word head in it. So no, sorry, it's not a sick joke. Not like Mr. Steve's insults.
Not really. I'm not really insulting anyone.
So, yes, so what do you think?
Lots of French friends. We all have a little bit of a joke with each other.
Okay.
You've got to be able to take a joke in life.
Okay, we're trying to forget that bit now.
Well, you brought it up, not me.
I know. It's like a sour taste in my...
So what's going to happen with this man, do you think?
Well, I
who's
don't...
going to have his... a new body.
He's going to have a new body because he suffers with a very terrible illness which destroys all of the nerves, I believe the nerves in his spine. So what he wants to do, he wants to be the first person to have his head taken off and put onto someone else's body. I'm guessing the other person... I don't know how that works. I'm not sure if they're swapping the heads. Are they actually swapping the heads around? So one person will be on his body and he will be on somebody else's body. I'm not sure how it's going to work there. I'm not being... It sounds like I'm being very flippant, but I'm not. I'm just interested. Who is going to be the body donor? So you know, do you... Because I would imagine you've got to be dead to be the donor. But how do you plan that? How do you plan that? Because your body has to be in good condition. So this is what we talked about yesterday, you and I. I said, well, if it's a body that he wants, surely the body will have to be in very good condition. So it can't be something that's been involved in a car accident because it'll be all smashed up. It'll be worse than the body is in now. So he wants a body that's in perfect condition. So no diseases. It can't have anything serious like cancer or anything because again, the body is in poor condition.
There'll be certain conditions that will apply
but if
a donor.
What if it's enough to kill you?
Well, it's probably got to...
Tell me a fatal illness that isn't that serious.
Brain tumour.
Ah, yes, very good. Well done. So I would imagine that the illness has to be above the neck because that's the bit they're taking off. So I know this is a strange thing to talk about, but it fascinates me. It really is fascinating. I get really excited about these sorts of stories because it's amazing. So this guy is going to have his head taken off and put onto another body.
Well, you see, it could be someone who died in a car accident who really, had a severe blow to the head.
Yes, the head would have to be damaged.
But the body is still okay.
But you couldn't have all of the liver and the guts all smashed up as well. Because
no.
It'd be no good.
That's it. So there'll be the doctors will know. They're looking for They're looking for somebody where obviously they're dead, but the body is still okay.
Maybe they're going to have a lottery. Maybe you have to draw a number. Because
stabbed in the neck.
Apparently, this is happening in Russia. So the guy is Russian, and I think the doctor performing it has already done similar transplants with animals. I might be wrong, but I'm sure he's done it with a monkey.
I'm sure he's practiced on something.
He's actually managed to transfer the head from one monkey.
Is that true?
To another. Yes, there are pictures on the internet. I'm sure everyone is Googling now all of these things.
Is the monkey swinging in the tree afterwards?
The monkey wasn't swinging anywhere.
No.
I think it lived for about 10 minutes and then snuffed it.
All I can say is this poor man must be so unhappy that he's willing to risk going through this procedure.
It's never been done before.
Very brave.
It's
very
not
brave.
I don't see this happening very often in the future. I don't think you're going to have sort of people going along to the doctors and they just slice your head off and put it on another body like a scarecrow.
They're doing miracles with science at the moment. But yes, I don't think that's going to be. Well, who knows in the future? Who knows? Anything's possible.
They can't even cure the common cold. So how are they going?
We can transplant hearts.
Yes,
and
but
livers.
that's different.
I know it's different, but I'm just saying.
It's just one little part of your body. I know it's important, but hearts are very magic things because did you know that you can take a cell from a heart and put it onto a little slide and it will still beat? You can still see the muscle beating.
Yes, I knew that.
Well, I'm not saying you didn't. Did I say that you didn't know it? Did at any point then did I say Mr. Steve doesn't know that?
But you tried to say that because they haven't cured the common cold, they can't transplant a head. But we can't cure the common cold, but we can transplant organs.
Yes,
and we can sew hands back on.
That's it. Well, hands still they can actually attach a person's hand back on, but it's much simpler.
Oh well, of course.
It's just a hand.
Oh, I'm not arguing with you.
You can't compare your hand to your brain.
Well, I'm not arguing with you. Obviously, it's difficult and it probably won't work. But he must be pretty desperate.
Even though with some people you might not notice the difference if it didn't work, because I'm saying that they're a bit stupid. Live
30
chat.
years.
30 years of this. Oh.
See, we're joking. We're not really arguing. Right.
I think if that guy of the head transplant gets his aim, it will be a great scientific revolution. But I think it's impossible because it's a very complex transplant. Yes. I've seen some photographs, some diagrams, some drawings of how they're going to do it. And it's very, very complicated. They have to attach all of the tubes to his neck, and then they're going to chop his head off and put it in a freezer. Steve.
Well, yes, they'd have to.
They're putting it in a freezer to make sure that there isn't any serious damage. But I'm not sure. I hope that the person who puts their lunch in the freezer that day doesn't get confused and take the wrong thing.
Nicole says, shall Mr. Duncan and I switch heads?
Nicole, would you really like to look like me with my physique, my terrible, terrible body? No, Nicole, I don't think so. I tell you what would be good. We could always be sort of. We could always have our heads put inside jars. That's what people believe in the future. We will all just be heads inside jars talking. So that would be amazing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do much. You know, you wouldn't be able to go for a walk. You would just have to sit there in the jar and watch everyone else walking around and probably feel very, very depressed. And you wouldn't be able to even do anything about that.
Well, some people are having their whole bodies cryogenically frozen.
Yes.
Or I don't know whether that is the right cryogenically.
Well,
preserved, that
cryogenically
means freezing.
Cryogenically does mean freezing. But yes, anyway, we're going off subject here. I don't want
What
to talk.
is the subject?
What a boring topic.
What is the subject?
I want to
Mr.
talk about
Duncan?
head transplants. That's pretty cool. I don't know why.
I thought you meant off another subject, not that you wanted to talk about head
No.
transplant. I thought the
Well,
subject was
what?
uses of the word
Well, there's a
crash.
Crash. Yes. Well, yes.
I suppose it's sort of related.
Yes.
If
Is
someone
it?
has a car crash, that and they're dead, they can donate their body.
Yes, but I've already
to the
said
man
that.
who wants his head
What?
replacing.
Have you listened to the previous 25
I've
minutes?
been here.
I said that you wouldn't use a body from a car crash because the chances are that it would be too badly damaged.
Yeah, but they would assess that, wouldn't they? The doctors would assess
What
that.
you need is a perfect body, which means you have to have a volunteer. Someone is going to have to volunteer to die so this bloke can have a body. That's what I think, honestly.
No.
I think it will be a prisoner. No, I'm being serious. People think I'm joking. I'm not. This is about as serious as I can get in my life. I think they will use a prisoner or someone who is. He thinks I'm joking, but it's
They
true.
can't just take a prisoner and say, sorry, mate.
Yes, but they do. There are many prisoners who are maybe on death row or they are facing a very long prison
Oh,
sentence.
right, okay.
And they offer to allow medical research to be done on them. Did you
Oh,
know?
maybe yes. You could be right there, Mr. Duncan.
I am right because I've seen it happen physically, not for real, but on TV. There's been programs about people doing medical experiments, and they get volunteers from prisons, so people who are in prison, and they are trying to redeem themselves for the crime that they committed. So this is a point that I'm trying to make, albeit in a very long way.
Right, well, we discussed capital punishment in countries a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yes, but
countries that still. No, the point I'm making is that certain countries are probably killing thousands of prisoners a year. I don't know whether to mention the countries again, but there were 2 countries that came top of the list.
Oh, wait, is this a repeat? Is this the
of,
replay of that
The
lesson?
number of people who are actually executed every year.
Well,
in
China
countries. Yes,
executes many people.
they do.
And apparently in China, they also harvest the organs as well. So there you go. America doesn't execute many people anymore.
about
they don't.
22 a year. according
22.
to- About 22 a
That's
year.
it. In China, it's about 22 an hour.
Maybe he wants. So the bloke, he's Russian.
Okay, wait, what are you doing?
Nothing. My legs are aching. My
My
legs are aching because I've been.
What's this? You're
My
standing.
legs are aching.
Oh, I see.
That's all. Look how nasty he is to me.
I wonder
So
what-
this poor man there's his picture again.
Where?
Well, I can see it there.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
now the
there
viewers.
he is, yes. Okay, so he wants to get a new body. He's Russian, is he?
He's in a hurry, yes.
So they must execute people in Russia, I would imagine. So there's somebody there then. That's it. There's probably no
Sorry,
shortage of bodies.
Did you just say to me they might execute people in Russia?
Well, I think they still have capital punishment in Russia.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Yes, it's pretty well known.
They're not top of the list, though, in terms of numbers of
No.
people executed.
No. But I just
I think it's China, Iran. I think
You
they're
know-
top of the list.
You know what? I'm sure they execute people in Russia.
But I don't think they do that. I don't think it's that many.
And you know, I'm sure the Pope is Catholic. That's what I've heard.
I'm going to go in a minute if you're going to insult me, Mr. Duncan.
And bears often take poos in the woods.
It's time. Look, it's 11:30. I'm going to bed.
You're not sulking, are you?
No, I'm just joking.
I can never tell nowadays. Oh, dear
He's
me.
being nasty to me, don't you think, viewers?
No, I'm not being nasty. I shall just we shall have a fight in the garden. after midnight.
I'll smash up this gadget.
Oh, okay.
Can't switch it off there.
You certainly can't. I wish I could.
Oh dear.
I wish I could switch you off. So, live chat.
Live chat.
Yes, okay, that's what I just said. Is there an echo in here? Yes, people wonder why I get so...
Mr. Duncan is reading a lot of fiction books, yes. Well, that's what they're trying to do, yes.
Yes, science fiction. Well, it sounds like science fiction, but it looks like it's going to actually happen.
Well, if it does happen, maybe, I wouldn't say no to a new body.
Yes. Well, yes. That I can understand that, yes.
Imagine just being able to just get a new body, one that's better than the one you've got.
Yes.
Maybe enhanced in certain areas.
You know what I would like to try?
What's that? What about a woman's body, Mr. Duncan? Would you like a woman's body?
I would like to be transplanted to a woman's body. Not because I want to be a woman, but I just want to know what it feels like to actually get out of bed in the morning and you look down and it's a completely different landscape. It's completely different. So when you're a man, everything's pretty boring until you get down there, and then there's a hello. But with a woman, there's lots and lots of stuff going on already, just below the neck. It's like oh, you've got something to look at. But with a man, it's very boring. And as you get older, of course, your stomach gets really big, and then you can't see what's You can't see what's underneath anyway. You can't see what's underneath there. You have to lift it all up.
Oh, for goodness sake, Mr. Duncan, we don't want to know about that.
To get down there. I'm not talking about me, by the way.
You sounded like you were.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about other men.
And some of us look after ourselves.
Anyway, the point I'm making is, yes, I would like to have my head transferred onto a woman's body, just for the adventure that it would present.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Mr. Duncan. 30 years. Bye.
Well, go on then. Clear off.
Just joking.
One day you
Martin come on tonight. Doesn't look like it.
I would imagine Martin is...
It's a friend of mine, Martin, from England.
Yes. From England?
Well, yes,
from England. Is that where he's from? Is it England?
I'm just explaining to everybody else. We don't get many people from England watching us. And my friend sometimes comes on and watches us. And I haven't seen him tonight.
He's been on twice. That's
Sukat says, I wake up and see the kilos. Wow. The kilos. What does that mean?
You wake up and see the kilos. What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting there, Sukat? I don't know. I'm not going into that. Danielle says, you both are making me remember some Black Mirror episodes.
Really?
Thank you, Danielle, for that. Danielle Medeiros. Yes, I'm sure that it sounds like something you might see in episodes of Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror.
Yes. Oh, I see. I can see it all now. I wake up and see the kilos I have to lose. Ha, ha, ha. Yes, Mr. Duncan does that every morning as well. Ha, ha, ha.
What? Your fake laugh is terrible, by the way.
Well, it's just a laugh.
It's not. It's terrible. It's you should go and work on your fake laugh. I want to hear a very good fake laugh on Sunday.
Yes, Rosa. I've got to start work I've got to be up at 7:30 in the morning. It's now 11:30. It's past my bedtime.
Okay.
Hint, hint, Mr. Duncan. Wrap up this live stream. Mind you, I could just go and you could carry on. I don't have to be here.
I suppose so.
I need to prepare. Yes, 7:30. I'll get up and I'll start work at 8:30.
That's nice.
Well, I'm working from home tomorrow, so, it's flexible.
Oh, you're
flexible.
You're at home tomorrow?
I am, yes.
Ah.
So I'll be disturbing you.
So if Mr. Steve's boss is watching right now, Mr. Steve is at home tomorrow, and between you and me, he doesn't get up until midday.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, you're trying to get me into trouble.
It's terrible. He doesn't get up, and when he gets up, he just sits downstairs watching morning television. He loves Loose Women.
But at 12:30, how can I watch morning television at 12:30? Ha ha! Wrong, Mr. Duncan, wrong.
Yeah, but the programme that you're watching started before midday.
Oh.
So you normally catch it just before midday, you see, so it's morning. Amriwadi says she wants to lose weight. Oh, I see. Well, I was being very polite there, unlike Mr. Steve.
Who doesn't want to lose weight?
Yes.
Apart from me, of course. I'm just perfect.
Amriwadi says, so what do you call it when the car has a crash because the driver lost control at the wheel whilst driving? Well, I think you've just said it yourself. They lose control. The car goes out of control. So if you lose control of something, that means the thing you are trying to control goes out of control. It's very hard to explain that. So I hope I
Look at that.
explained it suitably.
Mr. Coco,
Mm-hmm.
work out, eat less, you will lose weight. It is as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. If you work out, if you exercise regularly, and if you don't eat too much, and if you...
It's a scientific equation.
It's about eating bad food, fatty food, too much chocolate. Like Mr. Steve last week, he was eating so much chocolate because of Easter.
If you use more energy than you take in, you will lose weight, because that is just a law of physics. It's a law of science.
It's a fact.
If you take in more energy than you're using, you will put weight on.
Here's a
if
good
you
guide.
take in less energy than you.
Here's a good guide. It's a very rough guide, but I'm going to say now, if what comes out of you is less than what goes in, you will get fat.
What?
Well, can I carry on?
You're on about... go on, then.
Yes. So, if more comes out than what goes in...
What do you mean, comes out?
When you go for a poo...
Yeah, but it...
You realise you realise that was pointing down towards,
I don't think that's really...
No, I'm just trying to make a point, but it's a rough point.
Very rough.
Oh, that's good. Well, thanks a lot. So now you say something, and I will stop you halfway through.
No, it's all right.
No, it's not all right.
Are you suggesting that you
me?
Are you suggesting that what you should do is compare what you eat, the quantity you eat in, and then look at the quantity that comes out, and there's a relationship between the two?
Wasn't that a hit for Lulu in 1968? You.
Are you trying to suggest there's a relationship between the amount of food you take in and the amount of waste you produce?
You.
There might be a vague relationship.
Yes, well, I'm just using it as a rough guide, you see. So if you...
But how are you going to measure that?
Well, you don't measure it physically.
That's it, so it's pointless.
It's just a guide.
It's not. In weight losing, in terms of losing weight, I've never heard of... somebody trying to advise you to lose weight, saying, "Well, look at what you're taking and what comes out."
You might be completely off. That wasn't what I said. You see,
you did.
I didn't say that.
We're really arguing now.
As a rough guide.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! How do you get through a day without?
As a rough guide, carry on.
How do you get through a day without being killed by someone?
I hardly speak to anyone.
Thank goodness for that. Again, let me explain. Just as a rough guide, this isn't scientific. This is just a very rough guide.
Carry on. I'm just reading.
More
the chat.
goes in than what comes out. You put weight on.
Are you on about energy?
Well, just generally from physical the stuff. The bulk of the food and the crap that comes out the other end.
Yes.
It means it's going into your body. So things that you eat are absorbed and you get fat. You get fat. That's the point I'm making. Oh my God, that was supposed to be a very small comment that you just throw away and forget about.
I don't think that's used as a guide.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was. I just said it's just something that I think about. It's a thing that just helps you to think about if not putting so much food into your body. That's it.
Oh, well, that's true. If you eat less, if you use more energy than you're taking in, you'll lose weight. We said that earlier.
Yes, I know. And
there's no relationship between what you take in and your feces. your waist. There's no relationship there.
I-
Because if you were to eat lots of fibre,
I love it when you say feces.
if you were shit, then sorry, if you were to poop, you like the word poop. If you were to eat lots of fibre in your diet, which has no calorific value, then you would produce more waste.
I wish you hadn't swore then.
And thus, the relationship would be very different. then.
I wonder why YouTube
Energy
doesn't want to
in,
give me
energy
money.
out.
I wonder why YouTube doesn't pay me anymore. I wonder why.
Well, if we look at the poop that's on the internet and they're getting paid and you're not for all this good work that you're doing
I'm not
to everybody.
You know what the problem is? I think I do need to have that body
Yes.
What?
I know what you're going to say.
Sorry.
I know what you're going to
Yes,
say,
but
Mr. Duncan.
let me just say it. Everyone out there doesn't know what I'm going to say.
Oh,
What? What was that? What?
carry
Why
on.
do you keep making noises? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, 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 oh.
I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan.
oh, oh.
Mr. Duncan, you see, thinks that.
No, I'm going to say that maybe
Go
I. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Oh, let's have a look at the chat.
What I'm trying.
Yes.
Are you on the spectrum? Are you anywhere on that spectrum? I think you are. I think
Been with you for 30 years.
I think you really are on the spectrum somewhere. Right. Let me just say, what I was thinking is maybe
Oh, carry on. Don't let me stop you.
I'm trying my best. What?
Sue Cat says she's having so much fun watching us fighting and laughing.
There's no
Yes.
fighting. That'll be later outside on the lawn, naked. We're
You
gonna get oiled up and wrestle on the lawn outside.
If I'm not here on Sunday, you know what's happened.
Yes, and you might notice a big sort of mound in the garden.
Yes.
In the shape of a body, and that's probably where Mr. Steve will be. So, as I was saying, what I think, what I think would be a good idea is if I did have my head transplanted onto a woman's body, and then YouTube would take more notice of me as an English teacher, because that would appear to be the criteria of being an English teacher now on YouTube. You have to have big boobies. Big boobies, and you have to put lots of makeup on, and you have to be very sexy. So YouTube is only interested in sexy ladies now. YouTube is no longer interested in people like me. They're interested in the sex appeal. That's how basic, that's how shallow YouTube has become.
Maybe you could just wear a wig
Yeah.
and, some enhancements.
What's that?
Some
Is that
enhancements.
exercises?
No, wear some a bra with some false breasts.
I could just put some balloons under my jumper.
And call yourself Mrs. Duncan
Miss Duncan.
or Miss Duncan.
Like last week when I was the bride. I did enjoy that, actually, a little bit too much. So there we go. The live chat is still up and running. Let's have a look, shall we? We're going in a moment, by the way. Don't worry. You don't have to put up with this much longer. That's hysterical laughter, Mr. Steve.
We've got to sex it up, haven't we? That's what we've got to do.
We need to be more sexy.
We've got to sex it up. I'll just undo a few buttons here. Here we go. Maybe if I wore a wig, Mr. Duncan, maybe if we had hair.
Yes, I don't know why you're doing that, because the live chat is on the screen.
Oh, I see.
So nobody can see you.
Oh, but people can imagine it.
I'm sure they can. The things that nightmares are made of. Hello, please say hello to me. I am watching in Turkey. Yasin Celebi, watching in Turkey. And we've been to Turkey twice.
We have. Mr. Duncan's done a lesson about Turkey, or done a lesson in Turkey.
About taking holidays.
About taking holidays.
Yes. Mr. Duncan is still a virgin lady. Yes, I will be wearing white at my wedding, because I am untouched completely. I am.
Well, if you believe that, you believe anything.
Mr. Coco says a nice, sexy body will be more advertisable. Yes, maybe I should get. I should have a sex change. Maybe I should have some cosmetic surgery to make me look like a pretty lady, and then YouTube will take notice of me again. Maybe one day it will all be mine again.
Danielle, you've got to go to bed. I've got to go to bed as well. I'm very tired. Mr. Duncan's keeping me up late.
You know what I
tonight.
like about the live chat when it's on the screen? Because I can pick my nose and no one knows it.
Daniel said he sent you an email.
Okay.
Today.
Yes, I read it earlier.
Ah.
Yes,
Ribeiro Medeiros. Where are you from? Are you from Spain? That sounds Spanish.
Yes, Daniel, I actually read your email out earlier. I read it out at the start of the program, and I answered your question as well about how to learn English or how to practice conversation with other people.
Oh. So if Daniel watches this lesson,
yes,
once it's gone on,
yes,
afterwards,
you'll have to do that because I'm not going to repeat it all again, to be honest. We love you as you are. Please don't change a thing. Thank you, Sukat. I think Sukat is a fan of us.
Sukat 77. Does that mean there are Sukats all the way from 1 up to 76?
Yes. Why is it Sukat 77? Maybe Sukat is one of 77 clones.
Oh, well, it can't be your age because you do not. The picture there does not make you. You're definitely not 77.
I'm sure Steve's drunk. Sukat 77 in Argentina. So where are the other 76 of you?
Maybe that's when you were born in 1977.
Yes. My gosh, you will be very young then.
Yes.
Very young.
Well, I think looking at the picture there, I think maybe that is true.
So Daniel is going to bed, but there is an answer to your question at the start of today's live stream.
Daniel is Brazilian and lives in Barcelona, so that answers that question. Thank you very much.
Oh, I see. That's all. Oh, the day you were born. It was the date you were born.
Go on.
By the way, Steve.
Yes.
On Friday, it's the 13th. Are you scared?
No.
Oh.
Well, Daniel, I am, you might not know, because I have mentioned this before, but because I do this amateur dramatics, I am playing the part of somebody who's supposed to be Spanish Caribbean.
Is it the village idiot?
I'm playing the part of a pirate, and he's got to speak English with a Spanish stroke sort of Colombian accent, which obviously is very close to Brazilian. So you could help me on how to speak English, because I want to speak English in a Spanish accent.
You want to learn
a Spanish person would speak English, or a Brazilian person.
To put it into proper English, Steve wants to learn the Spanish accent when speaking English.
Yes, that's it. I just said that.
That's it. Well, I'm not sure about that.
And I've been practicing. So I'm going to do this one week, and people can tell me whether it sounds authentic or not.
That will probably be our last ever live stream, I think.
But that's interesting, don't you think? I'm an English person, but I want to speak in broken English. I want to speak in the way a Spanish person would speak English.
I was going to say, I think you're already doing the broken English very well. Apparently, it looks like we've got a new fan. Oh, goodness me. This is the first time that I've watched you, and you guys are great. What days do you broadcast? You can catch us on Wednesday. That's, of course, tonight. Wednesday from 10 p.m. UK time. And on Sunday, we are also here every Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. So you have to check the time difference where you are. But yes, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. UK time. Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. UK time. So twice a week. You get us twice a week. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh.
Oh. Yasin, can you give me some advice about the Erasmus program. I don't quite know what you're on about there.
SueCat77 says she was born in 1964.
1964. You are slightly older than me, but slightly, very, very much younger than Steve.
Only a few years.
A few, yes.
So we're the same generation, the same age.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Mr. Steve, can you say in Spanish?
Ah, no. Okay, I'll go on.
Te amo, mi amor. I love you, my love.
That's Spanish, is it? Te amo, mi amor. Got to roll your R's. Te amo, mi amor.
What?
You've got to roll your R's in Spanish.
But that didn't sound like it. That sounded like you were pushing a big poo out.
Thank you, SueCat. Do you have to... I don't think all Spanish... I don't think all regions of Spain or in South America you roll your R's, but I think maybe the majority, I don't know.
Yes, I think it's part of an accent. So I think with some accents you might stress certain sounds. So I think with the letter R you might roll, you see, like that. So roll.
Mr. Duncan can roll his R's very well. I'm not very good at it, but I'm getting better.
That just sounds like an angry dog.
I know, when I roll my R's, I have to make this great effort.
Yes.
Apparently it's genetic.
Daniel says you sound Italian.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, there you go. That's your Spanish.
Yes, that's it, yes. Look, yes.
What?
That's the problem I'm having. I'm trying to sound Spanish, but I'm actually starting to sound Italian, and that's what because they're quite close to me. When I'm trying to sound Spanish, I keep sounding Italian, but never mind. I have to go to Spain to learn the Spanish accent. Yes, I've been looking on YouTube, interestingly enough, and I've been watching people who are Spanish trying to learn English, and I'm listening to them talking English, so I'm getting lots of tips and hints.
Yes, it's amazing what you can find on YouTube. I mean, there are some people, I've heard, there are some people who actually teach English on YouTube. Can you believe it? They actually spend a lot of their time standing in front of cameras, and they talk in English, and they talk for a very long time, sometimes for 2 hours. And then they help people with their English, but they don't get paid anything. They don't get any money for it. They just do it because they love it. Can you believe that there are people out there on YouTube who do that?
For nothing.
For nothing. Incredible.
SueCat, there we go. Te, not tea. Te.
Yes. So not like tea, te.
Te amor.
Yes. Is that like ke?
Am I right there? Have I got that right, SueCat?
So ke, doesn't ke mean what? Ke? Ke?
No, there we go. T-E.
Oh, I know. I'm just talking about something else. There are. That isn't the only word in the Spanish language.
Pe. Yes.
Ke.
That the E on pet.
There is ke.
Te.
Ke, which means sorry. What?
I'm just looking at SueCat.
Oh, and also the other one I like is por favor. Por favor. Por favor. Which means
please.
Please. Yes. Well done. Welcome. Oh, I think I might give up teaching English. I think I might start teaching Spanish. I'm quite good at it.
One word?
Well, no, 2 words.
To speak Spanish, you must mutate.
2 words.
Mr. Coco is trying to tell us something there.
Mutate. I think you've done that already, Steve.
I can't read it all. It's not all on the screen.
You've definitely already mutated.
Roll the screen, Mr. Duncan.
I wish I could. We have to wait for it to move because now we have a new system. So we have to wait for the live chat to move. I can't actually change this. We have to wait for it to move across the screen. Could someone else please send a message on the live chat so it moves?
I see.
Oh, dear. So no, it's okay. I can wait. So anyway.
Yes, that's true.
Ooh, it gives you a nice little vibration, this does.
Por favor. Por favor. I can roll my R's.
You sound like an angry dog.
Por favor.
God's sake.
How about that?
Yes, but so are you saying that Spanish people all shout? Because that didn't sound. You don't have to shout. Why?
Spanish people are very. Now, I've got to be careful. I've already upset French
Yeah,
people, so I've got to be careful what I say today.
We've already lost all of our French
Very
viewers.
animated, very, very lively speakers, and they speak very fast.
Who said that?
No, they do. Spanish people speak that the language lends itself to being able to communicate and talk very fastly.
Fastly.
Very fast, yes, because
Yes. Fastly. That well-known English word, fastly.
Yes, I believe that's true. Whereas we draw our words out a lot.
Yes,
The Spanish
but
words
again,
aren't
I think
drawn out.
you're being very stereotypical. It's a bit like
No, I've read about
bit-
it.
Oh dear, can I actually get to the end of a sentence tonight? I'm really looking forward to actually starting a sentence and completing it without you sort of interjecting in a way that looks like a nutter on the bus. Okay, right. What was I saying?
Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
It's very similar to the way. It's very similar to the way in which Italians are seen as being very aggressive when they speak, but it isn't true. So Italians are always made fun of for being very loud and aggressive when they're speaking, but it's not actually true. The Italian language is very beautiful to listen to. It's a beautiful language, just like Spanish and French, and of course English. You okay?
Yes, I'm just reading.
I thought Steve had got.
Belarusia says that I was just speaking Spanish,
I thought for a moment someone had removed your head.
but I have to do something with the British T. Yes, I think in Spanish it's the tongue's on the roof of the mouth. I think with the T.
Yes.
Ta, ta. I think it's like that, isn't it?
Yes. The sound of T is syllabic. It's very so. If the sound of a letter is very it has a very high frequency, it's syllabic, so it's very high. It's like the letter S. See?
I'm saying nothing.
I'm not shouting. I'm laughing so hard because of your lovely comments. Now that's a good fake laugh. Did you like that? I think my fake laugh is better than yours, Steve.
That was very fake.
That was good. I thought my fake laugh is much better than Steve's. Steve has a very good sense of humour.
Oh yes, you've got to laugh.
You have. Sometimes there's no choice
Or as
because
Mr. would say, as Mr. Duncan would say, I would say laugh. Mr. Duncan would say laugh.
Yes. Okay. So what's your point?
I'm just saying because there are two different ways of pronouncing the word laugh.
But
laugh and laugh.
But you didn't say there are two ways. You said as Mr. Duncan says.
Well, I know because you pronounce laugh as a laugh.
But why don't you just say as some people? Why
Does
did
that
you?
matter?
Yes, it does.
I've made the point.
See, you're picking on me now. You're making fun of my Stafford accent. Yes.
Mr. Coco, that's interesting, yes. That some languages speak faster, but they don't necessarily pass any more information. Because sometimes the words are longer, aren't they?
That's it.
Interesting.
What I always remember is when I was living in China, you would hear people having conversations in the cafes and restaurants. And I always used to think that they were fighting or arguing about something. But in fact, they weren't. But sometimes when you hear Chinese people speaking, certainly in a public place, they speak in a way that sounds, not always, but sometimes, as if they're arguing. And I would say to my friend, what are they fighting about? And he would say, they're not fighting, they're just having a conversation. But the way they were speaking, the pace of the speech and the words that as they were coming out sounded very aggressive. So I suppose it's very similar to what I said earlier about Italian language. It sounds quite aggressive. But yes, what Mr. Coco said is right. Sometimes you need to use more words to say one sentence. So for one thing that you say in English, you might use 3 or 4 words, but in maybe Italian, you might need to use 9 or 10 words. So yes, that's it. Very good. Pretty cool.
Rafiafu, sorry, says, can I say something in Portuguese? I will have a go. I've no idea, so you're going to be laughing.
I will make it larger so Mr. Steve can see with his old eyes.
So let's have a go at saying, it looks like Chinese. Grato cazzo.
No, you don't have to shout. Why are you shouting?
Well, I'm just...
You know when people practice English, they don't scream at the top of their voice.
Well, I'm just having a go.
Hello, I'm very happy to meet you.
Sumum grato cazzo. I might be wrong there. I don't. Is the T pronounced like a TS?
It sounds like you're speaking in tongues. You're not possessed by the devil, are you?
Probably.
Let's try again. So Steve say suum grato gatto.
Well, I don't know. Well, yes. Well, we don't know. I don't know Portuguese.
I hope it's not rude.
It probably is. It's probably rude, isn't it?
I hope we haven't just told someone to fornicate with their mother.
Yes, we'll probably be cut off now.
That's it.
We've said something that will be picked up by the algorithms of YouTube.
We've said something in Portuguese that's very offensive.
What does it mean that we've just said?
Please, Raphael, it's your fault.
What have we just said?
So what have we just said?
How stupid of us just to say that without even knowing what it means. Somebody tell us.
So it's suum grato gatto.
I wouldn't keep saying it till we know what it means.
I'm not too sure about the gratto, but I'm not. But great. I think it might be something like great. Great
You're
person.
just guessing.
I think it means you are a great person.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just hoping that's what it means. What a noisy conversation.
It is.
Avisha. Steve keeps looking at the clock.
Yes, I'm going to bed.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Well, I'm not going to go just that quickly.
Oh, I see. I thought that was a hint. What a noisy conversation. What do you mean, noisy? Is it noisy?
You mean, yes, lots of chattering going on.
You mean busy?
Busy, yes.
It's a very busy conversation. maybe a little noisy as well. Maybe. Oh, I see. So
cat.
Gatto equals cat. Oh dear. Yes, I have a horrible feeling that this might be something rude. Please don't. Oh, please don't be. Please. Gatto is grateful. Oh, I see. Okay, then.
Oh.
So you are a grateful cat.
Oh.
You are a grateful cat.
Is that I am?
The cat is very grateful.
I am a grateful cat.
I don't know.
You are a grateful cat.
It's not a sentence I thought I would say tonight.
No.
I'm a very grateful cat. Exchange opinions. Oh yes, we are certainly exchanging lots of opinions tonight. What is strange here is that we started off talking about a man who wanted to chop his head off and put it on another person's body. That's where all this started. And now we are talking about grateful cats. I don't know how we got from that
this
to
is
that.
The wonder of being live on YouTube and seeing
is.
the live chat is that we can go from one subject to another.
We are alive.
And we can entertain and educate and find out and be educated from other people.
Yes, so we share what little knowledge we have about the world, and you can share your knowledge with us. So we all learn something. We all learn something from each other. It's called sharing. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg, that's what it's all about. You share with each other.
Consensually.
In
other words,
people agree. You don't steal people's information and then sell it and then go, Oh, don't take Facebook away from me. I really enjoy being a billionaire. Oh, I'm going to cry now.
64 billion he's worth.
Don't
64 billion.
Don't take Facebook away from me.
I don't think he's crying. Actually, they could take it away from him because it's been floated on the stock market. So in theory, they could vote him off the board.
They could. He really wants to keep that job.
But then I don't know whether he's got a majority share.
Yes. Maybe he has a part-time job. Maybe he works in McDonald's at the weekend.
Practice your T and your R. Right, I will do. Right, I'm going.
Yes. Steve,
I need to get ready for the morning, and I've got to be up at 7:30, so I'm already getting not very much sleep.
I've got a busy day tomorrow. I'm going to gate crash a funeral tomorrow. I'm going to someone's funeral. I don't know who they are. I'm just going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to go to the nearest cemetery, and I'm going to just visit or attend a funeral of someone I don't know, because I've got nothing really to do tomorrow, so I might as well do that. It sounds like fun.
Nothing to do tomorrow? Haven't you got to prepare for Sunday's live lesson?
No, it only takes me 20 minutes.
Doesn't it take some ages?
So we're going now. Look at that. It's just after midnight.
I know. I can tell. My calves are aching from standing up. My voice is going hoarse.
Your calves are aching. I didn't know you own cows.
Calves, my calves
see.
Down here.
Because a calf, of course, is a baby cow as well.
It is.
Do you have comic heroes in the UK like the US has? Yes, we have Super Ted, who is a teddy bear with superpowers, and also we have Banana Man. It's true. We have
never heard of them.
You've never heard of Banana Man?
No.
Banana Man is very famous. He used to have his own TV show, Banana Man. There's Banana Man. There's Danger Mouse. He's like a spy, so he's not really a superhero. He's a spy, and he lives in a post box in London, and he solves crimes that are committed by the Claw. There's this evil person called the Claw, and he always tries to get back at Danger Mouse. And at the end of every episode, he always says, "I'll get you next time, Danger Mouse. Next time."
It's not really a cartoon hero, I think, in the same way as
superhero.
Spider-Man or
yes. No, I just said he wasn't. I did say that.
Oh, okay.
I said he's not a superhero. He's a spy.
I'm getting very tired.
I'm glad to see Mr. Steve is paying as much attention as he normally does.
Well, I've been out tonight.
So?
Performing.
Well, no, let's not get too carried away. You've been out. Let's leave it at that, shall we? So please drink lots of water to keep your voice in good condition.
Yes. There's nothing here.
Well, there is.
Oh, yeah, but that's your water.
Well, it's not my water.
Anyway, I am definitely going to bed.
That's not my water. It's from the tap.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going now.
See, I just want some evidence.
I'm going now.
There is some evidence. There is water here.
I'll see you in the morning.
See you later, Steve.
Bye. Bye-bye.
And that's Mr. Steve gone. Almost. So we're going now. It's 5 minutes past 12. I've been on for 2 hours. I've been on for 2 hours and 5 minutes. Can you believe it? So I'm going now. It's gone midnight and it's time for me to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's live stream. Lots of things going on. Lots of things to talk about and to remember. You can watch the live stream later, maybe tomorrow sometime when it is republished on YouTube. Please give me some fingers crossed. TS is going for a job interview tomorrow at the British Embassy. So TS, I will keep my fingers crossed for you for tomorrow's interview at the British Embassy. So good luck with that. This is Mr. Duncan saying good night. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream wherever you are watching in the world. Rosa says, please don't go. Well, I have been here for 2 hours. I've been standing here talking to you for over 2 hours. Can you believe it? Thank you, Avisa. Thank you, Mr. Coco. Hope to see you again. Thank you, Belarusia. Thank you, Amriwadi, Rosa, TS, Anna. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, I am back on Sunday at 2 p.m. UK time with 2 hours of live English on Sunday. We will be talking more about the guy who wants to have his head transplanted onto another body. And also, hopefully, we'll get to talk about the uses of the word set. I will see you then. I'm very pleased to see that the encoder has also worked tonight. Very nice. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for following me, thanks for watching me tonight, and of course, until the next time we meet here on the internet. Yes, you know what's coming next, don't you? Ta-ta for now.